Young Aviator here. Today we're going to be doing the long-awaited Boeing 777 startup tutorial. So we are standing at the gates, stand, let's see, 63 at Montreal. The code name is Charlie Yankee Uniform Lima. We're going to be doing a quick flight, well not a quick flight, but a flight from Montreal to Paris, Charles de Gaulle. This is the startup tutorial, and this is the first video in a long time where you heard my voice. You probably heard my other videos, and my voice was really screechy. I have now gone through puberty, and now we're going to be doing the guide. So, let's get into the cockpit here. So, our registration is Charlie, Foxtrot, India, Tango, Lima. So here's a model 777-300ER. This is the PMDG in Lockheed Martin Prepar3D V4.5. As you can see, my frame rate is absolute butter here. I'm getting about 35 frames per second at the gate at a Fly Tampa airport, so that's pretty good. I will be publishing a guide on how to get your frame rate up high soon. So, you've probably loaded into the plane on the runway, and now you're at the gates. The aircraft is already in cold and dark mode, but if you want to set it, let me just show you. Oh shit. I rested my hand on some glue. That's not good. Okay, so if you want to set your aircraft into cold and dark mode, go to PMDG setup, panel stay low, click cold and dark, and then click execute. But we are already in cold and dark mode, so yeah, we don't need to do that. Now, this may differ for some people, but what I usually do when I spawn into the aircraft is I load up my fuel and my packs. So, we're going to go to FS Actions, go to Fuel, and for today, let me just get the flight plan. 1 second. So we're going to, I don't know if you can see my window here, but we are in onlineflightplanner.org. We're going to type in, for our departure, Charlie Yankee Uniform Lima. For our destination, we're going to type in Lima Papa Foxtrot Golf. Oh, wrong one. Lima Foxtrot Papa Golf. And we're using ARKIL 1904. I'll show you how to figure that out once we start the plane. We're 777-300. Fuel unit is, let's see here, what is our fuel? Kilograms. So we're going to set kilos. Crate plan. So we have our flight plan here. Okay, so we're going to be taking 70,000 pounds of fuel, so, or kilograms. So 70 tons. We'll just take 75. That's extra. Set that in there. And for payload, we're just going to set max. Doors, we're going to open the front left door and left one door because our jetway is docked to that, as you can see. And yeah, and then we're going to go to FS Actions, ground connections, wheel chalk set to set. Ground power type, choose one. If you do this one, then it will have a little bit, like, if you set it to GPU 1 plug, then you'll have a ground power unit in front of the aircraft, but if you set it to ground 2 plugs, it'll be the jetway plug, so you won't be able to see it. So we're going to connect that, and we're going to connect the air conditioning unit. And to close the FMC when the aircraft is cold and dark, click and hold the menu icon until it turns off. As you can see, here's our ground power. And if I show you the air conditioning unit, right here, connected just on the packs. Here's the actual unit, an absolute unit. Okay, so now that you have those two things connected and our fuel in, we're going to go to GSX and request catering. You don't have to do this if you don't, or if you do or do not have GSX. I just like doing it for realism. And request boarding. Now that we've done that, you may start the aircraft. So you're first going to go to ground power primary. Click that. And as you can see, things are beginning to turn on. Go to ground power secondary, or external power secondary. And now that the screen's on, you can turn on the main battery. Emergency lights set to on and close the guard. Service interphone to on. Go to our passenger signs, set the seatbelt to on. And set your exterior lights, nav, and logo on. If it's nighttime, then set your wing light on, but it's a daytime, so we don't need that one. And the overhead panel is finished. If it's nighttime, feel free to set some of these lights on if you want the background lights like that, but you don't need that because it's daytime. So hop back into your seats, test the oxygen, so we're going to go to the left side here. Okay, we have good pressure on that. We're going to go to the right side here. And good pressure on that. Now feel free to turn on the heaters here. I don't need it on, so I'm just going to turn it off. Then, when you're ready, go to ADRU up here and click it to on. You want to make sure this light does not engage. It says on battery. If it doesn't engage, then it's good. So now that that's on, we're going to head to our flight management computer right here, FMC. Go to FMC here, and this is where you see your AirAct data. So the PMDG, I don't remember which cycle it ships with, but I have 1904 installed. You go to position initialization, reference airport, type in your airport code that you're actually at right now. So Charlie Yankee Uniform Lima. And then type in the stand you're at. So we are at, let's see here, 63. So we're going to type 63 and put that in there. Yeah, so sometimes it would say not in database, that's fine. Then to align the IRS, go to CYUL. Right beside it, it shows you the position. Click that, and then go to set inertial position and click that. So the catering vehicles are in position. We're just going to quickly open the door for them. Disarm that, and open both. Back to the FMC here. So it's right now initialization. I can't say words. So time to align the IRS is 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Speed it up in the settings, but I like it to be realistic. But for the sake of this video, we're going to speed it up. So you want to do that, go through options, simulation, next page, next, let's see, next. Okay, it's not there, so go to PMDG, go to aircraft, equipment, let's just check if it's here. Doesn't look like it's there. Okay, so you go to displays. Should be here. Okay, it's not there. I can't find it. I probably missed it. So we're just gonna work with it. So now that you finished filling up the position init page, go to routes. If you have a company route, then you can enter it here, but for this flight, we're just going to be using a manually inputted route. So type in Charlie Yankee Uniform Lima, and I'm going to have the routes in the description along with the fuel. So if you want to copy this route, feel free to. So we're going to put that in origin, and our destination is Lima, Foxtrot, type that in. Lima, Foxtrot, Papa, Golf. Put that in the destination. Runway, you can use whatever runway you want, but for realism, we're going to be using the active runway, which is 24, let's see what that is, to the closest location, closest runway to us. Okay, so we're going to have a long taxi today. Great, okay, so we're going to be taking 24 left. So runway 24 left. Our flight number, One second, I just gotta fill this out in Project Fly. I am using Project Fly, and it's a great tool. I don't know if this is actually recording the screen. Okay, so our flight number is Air Canada. The airline code for Air Canada is Alpha Charlie Alpha. Flight number is 870. Put that in there. And since we don't have a departure, then we're just gonna click. We're gonna go next page. If you do have one, then go to departure arrival. Go here, like I'll show you go to departure arrival. Go to departure. Select your runway, then select the departure you're going to use. But in this case, we are not using a departure, so we're just going to go here. We're going direct RABIK, where when it says BCT or direct, you enter your waypoints. So RABIK, RABIK, Romeo Alpha Bravo India Kilo, and you enter 2 here, not via. Enter to the side, and this is where you put waypoints. Left is where you put airways, and if it says direct, then skip this, put it there. So our next airway is Quebec 951. So Quebec 951. Put it here. And it looks like our catering is finished, so we'll just close the door for them. Oopsies. Don't know what that was. So we go to FS actions, doors, close, and arm. Both of those. Okay. So next waypoint after Quebec 951 is DANOL, or Delta Alpha Lima Oscar Lima. Oh, mix it up. It's Delta Alpha November Oscar Lima. Right there. And just so it doesn't bother us later, we're just going to open our cargo doors now. Okay, so after DANOL, it is November 919 Alpha. So November 919 Alpha. After that, it is JOOPY. I like that name. Juliet Oscar Papa Yankee. After that, it is NATT. Well, I don't know how to input a NATT right here. It just says NATT, so we're going to skip that. It's now going to be direct, so we're just going to type X-ray, Echo, Tango, Bravo, Oscar. And we're going to put that in there, so it's direct to XETBO. Then we have another direct to ARKIL, so Alpha, Romeo, Kilo, India, Lima. And we have November 80, November 80, to NAKID, November Alpha, Kilo, India, Delta. After NAKID, Uniform Mike, 25. Oops, wrong one. 25. Then put that on the left. Then the final waypoint in our flight is Lima, Uniform, Kilo, India, Papa. Now we're going to program our arrival. You don't have to do this, but I prefer to do it right now. So we're going to type in our airport code for arrival, so LFPG, in active sky, and we're going to predict the forecast for in 9 hours. Runway, the active runway will be 27 and 26. Okay, so go to departure arrival, select runway ILS 26 left, that's what we're going to be using. And for the stars, select one that has your waypoint. So we're LUKIP, so we're going to scroll down until we see a LUKIP. We're going to be taking LUKI 8 Delta. And then we're going to go to route, activate, execute, go to legs, scroll down to the last waypoint, copy this one, if you see route discontinuity. Copy this, scroll back, and put it into the empty one there. Click execute to, well, not to activate, but to apply it. And now that's done. So we have a route ready. We'll go to route, performance initialization, And you can fill this out, but I'm just going to request it. We have 24 seconds till our IRS lines. So that's perfect timing. Request has arrived, and they uplinked our performance data. So we're going to accept this. First, you want to make sure you have like run down through it. So gross weight is 312. We're going to cross-check. That doesn't say there. I give up. Fuel is 75 calculated, which is what we're taking. Reserves, they're going to give us 8.7, which is accurate. Cruising altitude will be 310. We're going to probably step climb. Well, it's definitely going to step climb. Cost index is 85. Minimum fuel temperature is negative 37 degrees. And our cruising center of gravity is 7.5% shift. So, this is good. We're going to accept. Now we're going to go to thrust limit. If your aircraft is heavy, don't fill this out. But if it isn't, then feel free to fill it out with the flex temp. But I'm not going to because our aircraft is heavy. We're going to take off. Flaps, we're going to be taking flaps 15 degrees. Enter that there. Center of gravity, to fill it out, click it, and click it again. And it's going to give us our trim, which is 5.75. And it's also going to give us our V-speeds only if the IRS is aligned. If it isn't aligned, then it's not going to give it to us until it lands. So for our V1, we're going to take 158, reference VR, or rotate, 166, and V2, 175. Now, V1 is the point of no return. VR is when you rotate the aircraft. V2 is the minimum, well, not the minimum, but I have no clue. Anyway, so that's done. FMC is completely filled out, almost. We're going to go to FMC call, wind, and request. Now it's going to request. In the meantime, we're going to check. So here comes our luggage. So shortly, once the luggage enters the aircraft, we can disconnect all of this stuff and push back. That noise indicates that our uplink is ready. So when it says wind data uplink ready, click load. And it's also going to show you descent forecast. Click execute, and here it is. So we're going to FMC-COM, descent forecast, load. And that's just going to enter it through here. There it is. This is our descent. That is good. So now we can just go back to init ref, click this button, and it will take us to our takeoff page. I don't usually fill this page out, the second page of takeoff ref, but I will today. So wind in active sky shows, oh my god, from Lima. Current forecast. Wind is 240/08. So that's the wind. It is heading 240 degrees, going 8 knots. Enter here. It's going to delete your takeoff speeds. Slope, we're just going to put 0 because we don't have slope runways in P3D. Reference outside air temperature is 17 degrees Celsius. Enter that there. And that's done. So go back to your previous page. Click, click, click. And now your FMC is completely filled out for takeoff. Head back to your seats. Go to the MCP here. What you want to do, flight director on for both sides. Go to your IAS here, or your speed, and enter your V2 speed, which in our case is 175. So we're going to enter 175. Then you want to click LNAV and VNAV. For your heading, just set your runway heading, which is 240. It's about. Okay, runway heading is actually 237. And your altitude, if you're on Batson, set it to your transition altitude. But since we're offline, we're just going to set it to our cruising altitude of 30. Actually, let's see where. 310. So we're taking 310. Perfect. Okay, so now that our MCP is completely filled out, we're going to come over here in your barrow, change this to HPA if you're not in the US, and our pressure is 1009. Enter that till it shows 1009 down here. Then you want to bring your VOR needles up and set your auto brake to RTO. Now, we're just waiting for our luggage to finish loading. In the meantime, you may proceed to fill out the checklist. So you're the left inboard checklist. So oxygen has been tested 100%. Check that. Instruments are set. Heading is 237. Altimeter 1009 HPA. Set that. Parking brake set. Now it hasn't been set before because we have wheel chocks, but you're gonna set it now. So pre-flight checklist completes. Normal. Before start, so flight deck door, close and lock. It is not simulated, so not simulated. MCP, V2 is 175, heading track 237, altitude 31000. Check. Takeoff speeds, V1 is 155, VR is 166, V2 175. Check that. CDU pre-flights completes. Trim units 00. Make sure that's set. It is not, so who cares? Taxi and takeoff briefing. If you have a first officer or a family member you dragged into your room, brief them on the takeoff and taxi. But since I am completely alone, completed. So we aren't going to set our beacon light on yet. We're only going to set it when we're ready for push and start. We aren't ready yet because they are still loading our plane. We have an Air Canada 787 about to begin taxiing behind us. This airport's quite nice. I totally recommend you buy this. It's quite good. As the luggage is loading, I'm just going to give a quick update on my channel. I will be getting a VR headset soon, and we will be doing more DCS and X-Plane stuff. So, just wait for that. And yeah, that's it. That's the only update I'm going to give. So, our luggage is almost finished. Since it's almost done, we're going to come in here. So, to prepare for push back and startup, come over to your overhead panel, and for your fuel pumps, turn on these side ones. If you have fuel in the center tank, which we do, turn on your center tank pumps. It's going to give you a pressure warning, but it would go away right now. Just went away. And then test your fire overheat test. Check over here, and practice in progress. You have the left, right, and that's good. So I'll click that. Come over here and test the cockpit voice recorder, the CVR. Click test. That should work. Click erase. Set your cargo temp to whatever you like. I have it set to low for both. However, if you have an animal in there, then set it to high. So we'll just do that, who cares. Then come down here and test your evac horn, or not your horn, but the light. And then let go. There we go. Okay, so your light, not that one. For light, feel free to turn it on, I will. And now we have everything ready, start the APU. So bring it on, then bring and hold it to start, and then let go. So now that the APU is starting up, we're going to test our TCAS. It's going to give us a traffic warning here. And then it's going to give you a verbal confirmation.
TCAS test passed.
Good, so our TCAS test has passed. Now we're going to set our squawk code. We're going to set it to 7500. It's the ideal squawk code. Feel free to use it in real life. Don't. That means your aircraft is hijacked, but we're going to use it anyways. Then you would set, if you're flying online, set here. You would normally have done this earlier, but we're just going to do now. Set VHF left or right, whichever one you're going to use. So if you're using VHF left, click here on VHF left, and then click here to enable your volume. And then you're going to be able to talk to the air traffic control. So right here it says APU is running. That is good. So we can make sure the cargo is loaded. Back one is finished, so we can come here and close the aft cargo door. And we're going to close our door, like the front. The one left and two left doors. So close, close. Wait for that to close. And then you can arm both of them. Then we're going to go to the door page in the lower center. So go to the lower center and click door. Now you're going to be able to check your doors. So all of them are armed and this one is just open. We're going to wait for this guy to finish. It's finished, so now you can just go here and close the front door. Now this is going to give us a confirmation that's been closed in a second. In the meantime, we're going to sit back in here. And we're going to turn on the beacon light. So that's going to automatically fill that out here. Go to normal. And so here's the before taxi checklist. We're just going to bring that to the right inboard. There we go. So now my map back here. So all doors are now closed. Boarding is complete. Now we're going to go back to lower center and click engine. You're going to need this for when we start the engines. Then come to the overhead panel, hack left and right on. And we're going to turn on the wing light because we're going to begin our pushback in a second here. Go outside and close or undock the jetways. So they're just going to undock here. And they proceed to crash into each other. Oh, actually they didn't. Okay. So now that your jetways are undocking, go to the overhead panel and... oh, I got a voice crack. Overhead panel, disable your primary external power, secondary would automatically disconnect. Go to your FNC, return, go to ground connections, remove, and set wheel chocks, or remove the wheel chocks. Now that that's done, we are completely ready for pushback and startup. So we're just gonna go to GSX, request pushback, departure. So this is departure clearance requested, waiting for other services to complete. So once the jetways have docked back to their original positions, there we go. So now we're given the option nose right or nose left. We're going to be taking nose left. We will not start engines before pushback. Now that's done. He's going to dock with us. So we're just going to run through some things here. So we're going to go to the fuel or elect tab. So APU gen is running, left and right bus ties are working well. And there's a yellow on drives, and up here the drives are all off. That's because the engines are off. Go to hydraulics and it is off, but we are going to be turning them on. So left elect demand to auto. And now that should begin rising. And that will go forward. Then go to C1, C2, oh no, we're going to do that after. So right elect demand to auto, and the right side's going to start working. Then C1 and C2 air to auto. And then you want to go to your C1, C2 elect hubs, put that on, and there we go. So now that the hydraulic is set, fuel, we have adequate fuel. So yeah, right now the APU is taking fuel from our center tank. It's going to want to drain our center tank first, then the outer tank. So we're going to release the parking brakes because they have connected. Now that they connected, we're going to start the clock on the right side. Fuel looking good. Go to air, and we do have the APU bleed is on, but you know, it's not. Engines are off. We're going to go to doors, make sure they're all closed and armed. Gear, tire pressure, and temperature is looking good. Flight controls, not yet. Then we're just going to go back to the engine tab. So, go back in your seats. Go to the overhead panel. Select engine right or left, your choice. Right. Right here, wait for the numbers to fill in. And for your old temp to fill in. Then fuel control light to run. Now the 777 does have auto start, so you don't have to do anything else after that. pretty good. We're still recording. And there we go. Engine right has started. So if you would go to your overhead panel, you would see that the start switch for the engine right has returned to normal. So engine left, move to start, wait for the numbers to appear. Oil pressure is 1, oil temp should be 17. There we go. Fuel control to run. And now it's starting the other engine. And engine left has started. So now that both engines have started, the ground service is going to ask you to set your parking brakes, so we're going to do that. So now both of our engines are started, head on over to the overhead panel and turn off your APU. And then we're going to head back here and we're going to fill out our before taxi checklist. So anti-ice is set to auto. We're going to check our recall. To do that, come over here, it says cancel/recall. Check that. And if there's no yellow text, then recall is checked. Flight controls. So to check that, go to left inboard, flight control page. And before we check our flight controls, we're going to go to our trim. In our takeoff ref, it will tell you what trim you're going to be using. It's 5.75. So come over here and begin trimming your aircraft. If you don't have a button set on your controller for trim, then you can use this. But I am going to use the button on my controller. So we are taking 5.75. Stat trim is 52575. There we go. So trim has been set. You may now... Well, we're going to test our flight control right now. So controls to full left, and left aileron and left flaperon, and spoilers on the left side have extended. So center that. Same to the right side. Same with everything else. Center that. Full up, left elevator and right elevator are up. Center. Full down, left elevator and right elevator are down. Center that. Then your rudder, full left rudder, center, and full right rudder, and center. So flight controls have been checked. Ground equipment is just about to clear, so we're going to check that once they leave. So flight controls are checked. We're on the left inboard. We're going to set it back to our map, or our nav. Go over to your main, your throttle quadrant. You may set your flaps right now. I'm going to set that to 15. You should make sure here, it's here. Here's the control test from outside. And you're going to see the flaps come down with the flap actuator housings. And flaps are set. Almost. There they are. Head back to your flight deck. Make sure the flap is at 15. Then you may check that the ground equipment is clear once they clear. Go to normal. And before takeoff checklist, flaps 15. Before takeoff checklist is complete. So we're going to move that to the bottom. and right set it back there. So, head back to your seats. When we're taxiing, turn on your runway turn off lights and your taxi lights. Now that that's on, make sure it's clear on the right and clear on the left. We're going to release the parking brake, which is already released accidentally. Great. We're going to advance the throttles. And we are going to begin taxiing. So, that has been the startup guide for the Boeing 777-300ER. This will work for every 777 family. This is the, alright, what was I going to say? Right, so, expect a video on how to improve your P3D performance like mine. For example, I'm getting 30 FPS. Right now it's 22, but that's just because of the traffic. At the stand, we are getting 30. I used to be getting 18, so that's an improvement. That video should come this weekend, hopefully. I'll give it my best to try to make that video. In the meantime, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Your support means a lot to me, even though no one watches these videos. If you'd like to see any other aircraft done, feel free to leave it in the description. I will be doing the 787 from Quality Wings soon. Don't know when, but I will be doing that. And I will be recreating the Airbus startup video with the FS Labs. So, I've been Young Aviator. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.